The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host, who comes to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Well, it's a bloodbath out here, down 148 points on the S&P, cash Dow 30 off almost 1,500 points, NASDAQ down almost 400. And guess what? I'm out here buying. You got to learn to buy when there's blood in the streets. And a lot of these stocks, very interesting. I'm not buying indexes. There were a lot of people doing kind of stupid things like bidding up all the airlines. And as like I said, call me when they have 78% of their seats filled up. Of course, those are off 10, 20% or some of them this day. But when they throw the baby out with the bathwater, maybe it's time to start looking at those stocks that broke out over the last couple of months with volume and have come back to support levels. Maybe they've done a little bit of consolidation over the last few weeks, and maybe they're just ripe. Well, one thing, the risk reward is amazing because I think the first thing I bought today had maybe 1.25%, maybe 1.33% risk, to the stop. So I knew pretty much that I was going to be either instantly right or wrong, and that may be more important than anything else in the market. If you got to take a lot of losses to know you're wrong, then maybe there's a better stock out there somewhere for you to take a look at. But you'll see what happens at the end of the day. This is, of course, really kind of the end of options delta neutral day, and I suspect that had a lot to do with it. They're going to be, or I was watching them sell a huge amount of puts into this morning. That generally is a fairly good indication that at least through a week from Friday, we're probably going to see these lows of today hold. And you know what? Like I said, pretty close to saying either they're going to hold here or they're just going to break. So not a bad deal. I guess I'm going to say I might break even at them right now. So so maybe I'll lose 1%. Very tough to get trades in where you've got that much. But I look at today as a gift. That gift is to buy the stocks that worked when everybody was running around with their hair on fire with that thing that they call the pandemic. And we shall see. Anyway, I would love to see if I would have probably not bought if I would have seen a lot of these stocks below what they were on Monday. But at this point, we've got most of the stocks that I'm looking at, like Tesla. It should be at 900 today with the way that this thing came off. That it's at 978 tells me that there are not that many people worried just yet. Apple should be below 325. It's printing off here about 341. Valid breakout of all-time highs. Gold, or at least the gold miners, should probably be flipping the other way. Dust was at 2806 for a low today, printing 3102 as we speak. GDXJ probably should be 48, got to 4708 today, printing off at 4454. I suspect that's more. I had some questions about that via email. I think that's more about the idea that there's going to be any inflation anytime soon, at least at the moment. I think that's what that's about. Other things going on out here, some of the stocks that I've been tracking, you would probably think that they would have blown up today, like Wayfair. Again, one of the stocks that worked fairly well in the pandemic. It's off $1.49 at 180.90. Yeah, it was at 187 earlier in the day. So did they sell it off? Yeah. You got down to 176, and it's 181 for all practical purposes. So can it go lower? It always can, and I can always be wrong. In fact, one of the exercises I do in the morning before I get started, not why anybody is looking at me, is say I'm wrong about 10 times in a row to let me know it's okay to be wrong. And again, you never really, if you don't go up there and swing away, you're not going to hit a homer. And you're going to probably miss a few strikes and maybe even strike out. But that homer, that's the highest paid guy in baseball, isn't it? You hit 300 homers or whatever it is. I don't even know what it is anymore. Been so long since I watched professional sports that doesn't really matter anymore. Anyway, we'll see what happens here at the end of the day. Probably see a lot of people, like I said, throwing the baby out with the bathwater by the end of the day. So we'll see whether or not these things hold or not. But it's not going to take a lot to figure out whether they do or not. And, like I said, this is the opportunity. And as, Mr. Rothschild, who the banking magnates from France, he had to buy when there was blood in the streets. He did, and 250 years later, they still are filthy, stinking rich. Anyway, give me a call at 877-927-6648. And, of course, you can email me at path@tfnn.com. But everything's kind of holding in right now. Like I said, the S&P can go down. There were a lot of very questionable purchases. And, of course, they were running shorts out because it was just the easy thing to do. So we're going to have a little bit of a pullback here. Now, the question is whether or not we go right back to sector rotation and those stocks that will do well in a particular pandemic. But at any time you can buy a stock that has broken out in the worst possible market in the world and come back to support, man, that is a gift from heaven. So I'm celebrating. 3,031 on the S&P cash. Maybe that's the low of the day. I don't know. But it's probably pretty close. Let's do a little history, and then we can get on with the show.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1982, the 34-year-old director Steven Spielberg reportedly drew on his own experiences as an unusually imaginative, often lonely child of divorce for his science fiction classic, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And, of course, I think that was, until about 1987, the biggest movie of all time. I actually liked his movie before that much, much better. And that was, of course, now the movie I can't think of right now. Not Roy Scheider. That was Jaws, although I like that better than this, too. The other one, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's what I know. It's about as good as I can do.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we've been trying to get through these stocks for the last few days and they haven't been doing very well. I know one of my subscribers, we sent out some charts on, what was it, Tuesday or Monday? Can't remember right now, of all the ones that were kind of weak. And normally when we have big tops in the market, I'll have 200 or 300. He had about 50, maybe. And I kind of pared them down to a handful of them that looked fairly good. One of them was Aflac, AFL. He thought this one was the best one that I found out of the bunch and bought some puts on it, I think during the FOMC meeting yesterday, he said. March 26, $40.89, almost 11 million shares. Got into it with 4 million shares and went to $42, closed back below. That is the valid sell signal. You don't have a lot of volume on the way down here today, but generally a very good topping signal, not the end of the world. But when you get up and hit these highs on half the volume, you got to pay attention. Anyway, good score for that gentleman. Axcelis Technologies, ACLS. You didn't quite hit the highs in this one, but you did have May 12th. $27.82 with 845,000 shares. Got into it with 323,000 shares. Plopped down today again. Not that kind of volume in that you're normally looking for. But again, a lot of these aren't the end of the world signals other than the fact that they had no volume at the highs. Don't know what this company does other than it's in biotech. ADVM, 7.26 million shares on May 6, 23.79. Got into it with less than 1 million of shares yesterday, back into the trading range. VAH, who brought you Mr. Snowden to let us know that everybody was bugging everything we did. And finally, people are actually even thinking about it. We'll talk about that today, maybe later. Booz Allen Hamilton, company that hired Mr. Snowden, 2 million shares back on $81.67 January 31st. Got into it with 900,000 shares yesterday. Nice little reversal. But again, not a lot of volume out here to the downside. Of course, they get those green checks, so it's not like that's going to fall off the edge of the earth. And anybody named Booz you got to think about whether they need to rename the company. Cigna into a 6 million share high on March 4th. 211.90 got to 217 a couple of days ago on 1.5 million shares, and a nice pullback. You know, they didn't really have much from the May 14th low on this last move higher. Support probably going to come in around 180 on that one. DBC, which is a commodity tracking index, was kind of interesting yesterday, going back into $12.30 on March 13th. 4.5 million shares. Got into it yesterday with 1.3 million shares. Got a little reversal. And again, a lot of these do not have volume so much today. I think a lot of the volume is actually coming from a lot of those dog stocks that everybody was bidding up that weren't making any money and are probably going to go bankrupt anyway. And, of course, a lot of the index stuff that gets to churn around when they do. Okay, what else do we have? Emerging markets, DGS. This is the small cap emerging markets. Aren't they all small cap if they're emerging markets? Just a thought. Anyway, 2.17 million shares on March 10th at $40.70. Got to 41.28 on 159,000 shares. Not much in that. But probably showing that we are a little bit on the weak side in this. Now, stocks, again, we're talking about stocks doing well in a market that is maybe more like a few weeks ago or a month ago than it was 3 months ago. Domino's Death Disc, that's what I call them. The Death Disc Company, deep death disc, stuffed death disc, death discs of all sizes and shapes. Domino's Pizza, $380.69, 5 million shares on February 20th. Got into 1.4 million shares on April 22nd. Yesterday pushed it with 849,000 shares. This is really, when you're looking for triple highs out here, and you see the first one and then the second one, on ridiculously light volume. And then the third one comes in with 850,000 shares. Well, it's running out of steam. But in the scheme of things, if you wouldn't have seen today's indexes, you probably would have thought, well, not that big a deal for Domino's. Fake Book is headed back down to test this gap. That's about 220, what we're going to call it, 222, room 222. Oh, I still think about that sweetheart on room 222, Karen Valentine. Anyway, the gap up on May 20th, 50 million shares. Back into it with 17 million shares. Not a big signal. She says hi. Okay, thank you. I mean, I did live not too far from Marianne on Gilligan's Island, so I did get that later in life. She lived down here for about 10 years. Next to the guy from Herman Hermits, too. He was down the street. Anyway, Facebook, we're kind of getting back into support here. Look at about 222, I'm expecting. Fuel cell. Had a huge blowout. I think a lot of people were on the wrong side of this yesterday when they were getting run out of their shorts. And again, this thing was down at 48 cents. What moron didn't cover it when it was at 48 cents, but had to cover it yesterday because they were greedy? Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. And yesterday was kind of a gift to the trading gods that the shorts probably had to give to F-Cell on this. And, of course, you never know when that news is going to come out, but it lasted all of one day. And it's not uncommon to see this stuff. Of course, everybody thinks the end of the world's coming, and of course it hardly ever does. And when they get the opportunity to actually cover something, they don't. This thing's still massively shorted. Why does somebody want to wait for the last 50 cents in a stock for it to go belly up? It's beyond me. Because you can always get this kind of action. It went from 48 cents to almost $3. You know, I didn't catch it, but I certainly wouldn't have been short it down there. I don't know what you're praying for. Anyway, I continue to ramble sometimes. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, and fuel cell. JB Hunt, another one out here for transportation. Come back, we'll look at this. But it actually didn't have as bad a volume at the highs. It had a little bit more, but doesn't really matter. It wasn't that much better. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And I had a question about Amazon cutting its contracts with police for its face recognition software. And it's probably a good thing for Amazon because it was racist. Everybody thinks that a lot of this stuff just works rather magically, and some stuff works incredibly good. But one of the things that facial recognition software doesn't do well is the same thing that Tesla's self-driving cars don't do well. We talked, 6 months or a year ago, probably 6 months, with Tom O'Brien in the Tech Insider Hour about how the Teslas would just drive into semis that were painted black on the sides of them because it couldn't see anything. Well, guess what? People with faces that are not white, it has a tough time seeing anything. They actually ran it, I think, a week ago or something, and it ended up finding that it was identifying 27 members of Congress as potential felons. Now, it was probably right, but not for the reasons they said. So Amazon's probably ducking out of this, thinking that if they're not in it now, maybe they can't get sued over it. But the stuff never worked as well. It was never the kind of stuff that you saw in the movies. And, that they get gored a little bit about it, kind of a little Schadenfreude, kind of a little bit of karma for citizen Bezos running around and blowing how virtuous he was. And, of course, now he's got his own newspaper coming after him, saying that he's not virtuous enough. It's like the mob. You start getting involved with them, they're going to eventually burn your restaurant down and make you pay for the insurance money to get the policy and burn it down anyway and collect the cash. That's kind of what's going on with Mr. Bezos now. So, pretty much deserved. You hire a bunch of imbeciles and you're surprised when they turn on you. Don't know what he was thinking. Okay, Juniper Networks. This one had a fairly good signal. 9 million share spike into April 29th, 2502. 9 million shares. You got into it with 3 million shares a few days ago. It kind of peaked a little earlier. Of course, now you get the pullback. Not all that kind of volume, though. So it's not the end of the world for these companies, and certainly not, I don't think, back to the lows. Some of the ones that were the most egregious were things like to MasterCard. This thing had been fairly weak, the financials, of course. Volume is about the same as it was yesterday so far today. My guess is it's going to pick up a little bit. This thing, about 280 is where support is. It kind of danced its way up to 316 here on not much of anything. And again, it's going to be a tough year. It's not like there was a light switch, and I got to sneeze. I think we need some Jeopardy-like music for my sneezing. Anyway, this got above the 314th high, which the March 3rd high. That had 8 million shares. You had about 4 million shares yesterday as you got above it, and really didn't hold that high very much. You rotated back down. 285, is that the end of the world? Well, it was 199.68, so I don't think so. A lot of these stocks are going to need to consolidate these wins, and we're probably going to need to make it through the third, maybe the fourth quarter for financials to come back. As I said before, there's going to be a lot of these stocks, like the airlines, that are going to be not the second story, but maybe the third story. Financials will probably take at least a year to really be the kind of BMOS they were before in February. But it's not the end of the world. Okay, what else we have? MIME. Okay. Mimecast Limited, $44 on May 8th with 1.7 million shares. Got it to $44.71 yesterday with less than 1 million shares. Not the end of the world, kind of light volume today. But again, a lot of these are kind of topping out. Like I said, I would say that if it was the end of the world, what we would have seen, I would have had 200, maybe 400 today that were doing this. And we've got some. And I think everybody's piling on today and going all in. But a lot of times this kind of movement, it's, I would say if the volume was higher, that we were going right back into the same kind of thing we did back in February, but not. Okay, Meritage Homes. These guys make mobile homes. 2 million shares on January 30th, 76.34. I got into that a couple of days ago with 361,000 shares. No big surprise. Again, not a lot of volume coming in on the downside. NVIDIA. You can call me at 877-927-6648. NVIDIA, you kind of went to a new high. Was there as much juice as you needed to? No. 350 kind of support out here, yes. Has anything really changed in it? No. It did break out. It broke out with significant volume above the 315. You had your opportunity to buy it on the 27th of May. You're still much higher than that now. Pinterest. If you're sticking a pin in it, it's got to be Pinterest. Let's call it 28 million shares on May 5th at 22.08. Pulled back to 15.82. Got back to 22.73 a couple of days ago. That was on 10 million shares. So basically, a little more than a third of the volume going back into that. You had one more day higher yesterday, but volume was kind of muted. You had 12 million shares. Nothing up compared to that 28 million share day on May 5th. Then, of course, you rotate lower today. Sport probably comes in at like $19 on this. Not a whole lot. PSTI, actually one of the better-looking biotechs out here. I don't know a lot about it, and I would do a lot of research before I ever put any money into it. But it did gap higher on the 9th of March, or April. 9th of April. 14.4 million shares. You're back into it yesterday. 754,000 shares today. 463,000 shares. Maybe 650 if we continue to see some weakness would be interesting. The Qs, of course, gave a fairly big signal, but unfortunately, it was on volume. Yesterday, we went to a higher high. 58.1 million shares compared to the 22 million shares back on February 19th. That would suggest that 2782 gets retested. I'll say that again. You hit the high and you had more volume. You had 58 million shares compared to the 22.2 million shares on February 19th. And the energy back off the low was about the same as it went down. So the NASDAQ is not all that horrible. A big, nice, long leg, and a high volume high that will probably get tested. 247.82. Mark that down, folks.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get the competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And a good question out here from the den, which is my power law number doesn't show the strength off the lows in the QQQs. That would be true. What I would like to see, though, is all this stuff agreeing, and it does not. You wanted to see something like 15 million shares yesterday on the QQQs, not 58 million shares. Generally, what you'll have is a pullback like this, one more test at the top, you get the light volume, and that's when the wheels fall off the wagon. I mean, this is a fairly decent one-day pullback, but when you have all this energy coming out of one day, it's almost always a selling climax, and we shall see. But my guess is that's what we've got working out here. Off 167 on the S&P cash, volume's fairly good. It's easy to say that the end of the world is nigh, but I'm not saying that. 10.5 billion shares. We had about 14.5 billion shares. What you would really want to see is 17 billion by the end of the day. That would be the kind of thing that, at least I would say, would be something that would be tough to hit back on. So we'll see, but you got to kind of wait till the end of the day to see what that comes in. Volume is good. It's not the 17, 18 billion that would say the end of the world, though. And yeah, you'd want this to go up maybe one more time, get up there with no volume. Certainly, maybe 20 million shares back up to 247.82 on the Qs, and then see that roll back over. SPYs kind of had the same thing, didn't quite get up there in the ETF. But you got back up to this gap down that had 161 million shares with 73. Now that one looks a little bit more in tow with what you're talking about. SPYG. I wonder what this one. Oh, SPY. This is the growth ETF. Pretty good indication that the growth stocks were weakening out here. February 19th, $45.54, 5.1 million shares. Got into it yesterday with 2.8 million shares. Now you rotated lower. But again, not a lot of volume. You did have that volume a few days ago. And generally, you want one more bite at the apple up there to see these things are rolling over. Sarepta Therapeutics, SRPT, did test the high today of July 15th, 2019, 158.80, 1 million shares, and you got into it with, 729,000 so far. XLP, consumer staples, Apparently, not everybody's going to run out for toothpaste either today, so the market needs to make its mind up. If this is the security stock, it's not doing all that well. Yeah, let's see. Let me get a little bit closer view of this thing here. Yeah, you basically went into the highs of April 17th. That had about 12 million shares with 13 million shares, but other than the fact that support is at this gap, my guess is you're going to get one more huge gap higher before this thing actually is over. Okay, utilities is the last one on our list today. Good time to give me a call at 877-927-6648 or email me. I will check those emails. Oh, we got plenty of them here. Okay, I got to get to those then. Got 4 or 5 minutes left. Okay. You're down today. Volume is picking up on the XLU, but not a real clear one. Okay, first email, GDX. Is this a great buy the dot opportunity, isn't it? GDX Streamlight Volume. I don't think so. I almost bought Dust this morning, didn't quite get into it. My guess is you're going to see Dust retest 3505. That may be the time to start looking at the miners. Okay, radio show question. Would you buy Apple here? You know, the problem with Apple is I just don't see it. We're going to come back to 327. Still wouldn't be anything. It's just when you buy it, am I ever going to be able to say I'm going to make 25 or 30% on the thing? And the answer is no for me, unless I hold it for a very long time. So just the law of large numbers. I don't generally trade Apple. It just doesn't move fast enough for me. So I wouldn't buy it. That's the question. Would I buy it? I wouldn't buy it, and I wouldn't short it. But what else can you say? It's back on not horrible volume today, but on a bad day, it kind of went up here. Close below 327 would finally be something of a bearish signal. But again, I'm not going to be shorting this one. There are a lot of other ones we went through today that would look much better. Okay, PAN, please. PAWN, PAWN, PANW. That's what it is, right? Okay, so in the security part of the business, it's been kind of moving back slowly, not a lot of volume. Ideally, I don't know what you want to do with it, if you already long it or short it. Ideally, $200 on light volume as it's kind of come back here would be a nice buy. I can't, is it in a bigger ABC? Could be. I'd still need it 200 to 205 before I would buy it, though. That would get the risk reward to go retest 251.11. CNK. Take a look at that. I think we got all of them. We went through them. Chesapeake Energy. Okay. This is the one that popped and ran all the shorts out. We talked about Dries doing this a year ago, and they'll just reverse split these stocks back out until they run all the shorts out of it, and then they'll clean their clock, as they did a couple of days ago. I have no idea how to analyze this chart because it's just it's a scam, and you've got stock operators doing this. I don't know what you're trying to think. Is it going to run right back up to 77.50? No. But here's the thing you want to watch out for and why you wouldn't have been short this thing. And that is, 10 to 15 days of this thing going sideways. That is the scariest thing at lows that you can see. That is a great signal. In fact, that's what I was looking at, I think, in Dries before it, Joe. That is what I call the Lazarus pattern, at least for me, and that is it's playing dead. It goes sideways at lows like that for 10, 15 days. Watch out, because you certainly do not want to be short a stock like that, because that is generally a good sign that someone's accumulating it for over those days, and then it pops up. Now that it's back here, is there any reason to buy it? I don't think so. Everybody that's short got washed out, and that's it. So is it going lower? I have no idea. If you're trying to buy it to go back higher, there was no fundamental reason for it to go higher. So there's probably not any reason to actually buy it. Yep, not much going on. We'll be back in a minute.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us, and Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
Bam! David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, along with specific recommendations, including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And question about Cinemark. This is a distributor for movies. Don't know what they're planning on doing. It went up a little bit here. Again, this is like the airline business. I don't see any reason to be in it unless they start turning a profit, and soon. It's just a money hemorrhaging business at this point. The big problem with film distribution these days is Amazon Prime and Netflix. They take a big cut, kind of like the mob, out of everything. For film distribution. There's no real reason to be in it other than when the mob got forced out of actual motion pictures, it moved over into the distribution of films. And of course, one of the big advantages that Amazon and Netflix have had was that they don't have any of those horrible people in the food line. And, of course, that money goes to the big film stars, and they're stealing them away from, of course, the retail big film business to begin with. So I don't understand why I'd be in the business. My guess is this is one that is probably headed for the ash heaps. Maybe there'll still be theaters after all this is over, but they weren't doing well to begin with. I don't like being in the entertainment business because they're always one or two or three movies away from having dud after dud after dud, and they're all broke. That's why every time you see a movie, it always says some kind of name you never heard of, and that was a corporation they made in case everything went belly up. They wouldn't have to pay anything to anybody on. So just be very careful in the entertainment business. I don't think there's a lot of reasons to be in it. What else? That's about it. We're going to see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Remember to sell when you can, not when you have to.